My name's Danny. I'm an elementary school music teacher by day and a composer by night. And when my students ask me what a composer does, I usually say something like, a composer is somebody who organizes sounds. And I'm actually going to invite you to go through this process with me right now. In just a moment, you're going to see a shape on the screen. I'm wondering if you can make some kind of sound that you think matches that shape. It could be with your voice, your body. Don't overthink it. There's no wrong answers. Okay, what do you think this shape sounds like? Wonderful. It's not so hard, right? Okay. Can you do me a favor? Remember that sound. We're going to need it in just a moment. In the meantime, what do you think this shape sounds like? Yes. Okay. One more. What do you think this shape sounds like? I love this. This is great. Okay. We can work with this. So, I hope you remember all three. I'm going to now take these shapes and kind of mix them up in a few different ways. See if you can just follow along, make each sound as the shape appears. Okay, let's see what happens. Thank you. You're very brave. I really appreciate it. So maybe you really liked that last kind of crazy, chaotic sound. You wish that it had lasted a little bit longer. Or maybe you really didn't like that last sound, and you wish that I had ended with that beautiful, kind of weirdly disappointing orange circle, like thing that we showed right before. If you have opinions about what you just heard, those instincts and opinions to prefer certain choices over others, this is what makes you composers just as much as I am. Because if you had a pencil and some paper and these three sounds in your head, you could easily sketch out your own kind of musical journey with them, right? That is uniquely yours. And I find this approach to composing and creativity fascinating and wonderfully demystifying, because if we think about music as organized sound, then there's really only two questions we need to ask to be composers, to compose our own music. And those are, what are my sounds? And how are they organized? And if I were going through this process as a composer myself, I might start with the first question, just wandering around trying to find some sounds that I think are interesting. And I think it's pretty interesting, but it's also just a bunch of sounds, right? And so what I might do next is take those sounds and try to organize them in some way. I could use a pattern, maybe even a pattern from a song that already exists, like Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. Okay, that's enough of that. I think you know how the song goes. So this process is really fun for me. There's lots of different ways we can iterate through it, different sounds, different patterns. But it can get old after a while. I mean, after all, who's asking these questions? It's just me, one composer with their own sort of ideas and preconceptions about what music can and should sound like. And composers have been creating music this way for hundreds of years. Beethoven, 200 years ago, wrote music this way for a string quartet. This is a little bit of what it sounds like. And this is what the music looks like, a sort of transcription of what Beethoven heard in his head, written down for other musicians to play. But this is just one way of organizing sound. I played the same sounds you just heard for a classroom of third graders, and they thought that Beethoven's music looked like this. In Beethoven's sounds, they heard squiggles and arrows and a dinosaur. When a classroom of third graders are making those creative choices, Beethoven's music looks and sounds like this. When this act of composing music is a shared practice instead of a solitary one, I think this opens the door for some weird and wonderful and frankly innovative things to happen. So in a different project, I sent this creative invitation to a group of young musicians. Play a short idea over and over again, changing it a little bit each time if you'd like. About 24 vocalists and instrumentalists in high school and college sent their own recordings of what they thought this prompt would sound like, completely independently of one another. And so when I took their recordings and played them all back at the same time, they sounded like this. I love this music so much. And I didn't write a single note of it. I simply offered an invitation for others to make creative choices alongside me. And in doing so, this normally solitary act of composing, of organizing sound, transforms from one vision by one composer to a kind of shared celebration of community creativity with lots of voices united towards a common purpose, while also kind of honoring their individuality and uniqueness. And as creators, why wouldn't we want to build spaces like this? Everybody has something worth sharing, whether it's a beautiful melody or a doodle of a dinosaur. We live in an age with so many resources for building creative things, but I'm pretty convinced that one of our greatest, most meaningful, beautiful resources is and always will be one another. As you navigate your own creative choices from day to day, I encourage you to leave your door open, invite others in to build and play and work alongside you and bear witness to the weird and wonderful and innovative things that unfold. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it.